Today we are going to do a tool called 3 bars of integrity. People often talk about integrity. Let's ask, what is integrity? Well, most people say doing the right thing. Doing the right thing whether somebody is looking or not. Honesty. Tell the truth. Don't cheat, don't lie, don't steal. People typically view that as integrity. I call that the base bar of integrity. So I'm going to talk about 3 bars of integrity. The base bar I call honesty. This is what most people refer to as integrity. By the way, I call it the base bar because I would like to think that people that I work with, people with whom I associate, people that are in my organizations, I would like to think that all of them pass this bar all the time. So to suggest that a man or woman who is honest, to be a person of high integrity, seems rather low expectation. I expect everybody to be honest. So I call that the base bar, meaning I expect everybody to pass that bar. Another quick note, the word integrity comes from the word integrate. Bring two together to become one. That's what integrity is about, bringing 2 things to become one. So what 2 things are we bringing into one when we say honesty? We are essentially saying that I will do all that is right. I'm going to make one of what is right and what is true. I agree to do all that is right under some notion of what is right. Under some set of values of right, I'm going to do all that is right. I'm going to offer 2 higher bars of integrity. The middle bar of integrity is do as you say. In this bar, you not only agree to do everything that is right, i.e. be honest, but you, in addition to that, you agree to do all that you voluntarily agree to do. So if you said you would show up at 8 o'clock in the morning, you show up at 8 o'clock in the morning. It has nothing to do with right and wrong, it is just something you agree to do. If you said you would get this report done by end of day Tuesday, you get the report done by end of day Tuesday. Now, whereas I expect everybody that associates with me to pass this bar all the time, i.e. be honest, I acknowledge that some other people will not pass that bar, the middle bar, some of the time. So some of the people will not pass the middle bar some of the time. And on those occasions, raise your right arm and take total responsibility. I'd like to tell a story here to illustrate this. This story is actually credited to a good friend of mine, a colleague, a good friend, Dr. Carolyn McKnight. I met Carolyn McKnight in one of the businesses I ran. She was the VP of HR. I had just taken over this business, and maybe a few months into the job, I had a staff meeting, Monday morning, 8 o'clock, staff meeting. Now, for those of you who know me, I like to start meetings on time. I like to start meetings on time. I like to end meetings on time. I like to hold things to schedule. And Monday morning, 8 o'clock, staff meeting, Doug is not there at the meeting. I started the meeting at 8. Doug walks in, maybe 15 minutes late. And he's apologetic, profusely apologetic. I'm very sorry I'm late. I got stuck behind a school bus, and I just couldn't. That school bus made a stop at every possible stop it could make. I'm very sorry I'm late. He apologized profusely. I was going to continue the meeting when Carolyn says to me, Balaji, can I have the floor for a couple of minutes? Sure, Carolyn. So she comes up and she has this profound observation to make. She says, you know, we could live our life in two very different ways. She looks to Doug and says, Doug, you woke up this morning. You wanted to come to the meeting on time. You know how much Balaji likes people showing up on time. But you got stuck behind a school bus. What can you do? You can't pass the school bus. You can't endanger the children. And then when you came in, you apologized. You apologized profusely. It wasn't your fault. There was a school bus there on the road. Or you could live your life in a very different way. You could say, I woke up this morning. I wanted to come to the meeting on time. I know how much Balaji likes people showing up on time. But I didn't give myself enough time in case there was a school bus on the road Monday morning, 8 o'clock. You see, here I am at fault for not having given myself enough time in case there was a school bus. Here, the school bus is at fault for having been there. Because if the school bus hadn't been there, I would actually have been on time. Here, I am at fault for not having given myself enough time. See, here, it's a movie. It's a movie I'm watching. Nothing I can do. That's how the movie is scripted. You see, in this movie, the school bus stops, I stop. And the school bus stops, I stop. And the school bus stops again. I have to stop. You see, here, it's a movie where I am the actor in that movie. I am the actor. Next time the movie plays, I can play the movie differently. I'm going to be in front of the school bus. Here, I'm a victim. I'm a victim of that school bus. Here, I'm an actor. How do you want to live your life? Carolyn says. Do you want to live your life as a victim or as an actor? See, what is profound about this observation is that just the language, the phraseology, I'm sorry, I'm late, I got stuck behind a school bus, is the language of a victim who finds the school bus an impediment to their progress in life. In contrast, the language, I'm sorry, I'm late, I didn't give myself enough time in case there was a school bus, is the language of an actor who finds that from this life experience, they have learned how to live their life differently in the future. You see, the phraseology, just the language differences, puts your mind in a very different state between being a victim and being an actor. Let me tell you, next time somebody comes into your office and they complain about something, oh, they could complain about anything. I mean, they could complain about, you know, that copy machine we have, it doesn't make copies like this. The chances are that complaint is going to be in the language of a victim. Simply ask them to do this. Simply ask them, could you please rephrase that in the language of an actor? It liberates them. It frees them from that victim mindset. So on occasions, you will not meet this bar. And on those occasions, raise your right arm, take total responsibility. Take responsibility in the language of an actor. And then there's the high bar. The high bar of integrity. Have you ever walked into a colleague's office and asked them a very sensitive question, and they say to you, can I be honest with you? Have you heard that? Can I be honest with you? You know, I've always wondered, how about all the other times when they didn't ask that question? By the way, what am I supposed to assume all those other times? Were they not telling the truth then? Let's ask ourselves, what do they really mean when they say, can I be honest with you? Typically, they mean, can I tell you something you might not like to hear? Can I be frank with you? Can I tell you what's really on my mind, what I'm really thinking? That, in fact, is the high bar of integrity. The high bar of integrity is to say, as you think. Say as you think is a high bar of integrity. You have to put forth, you have to say what you actually think. You have to say it constructively, you have to say it compassionately, you've got to say it in the right forum, but whatever you think, you've got to speak up. Say as you think, by the way, does not give you the right to simply blurt out anything that comes to your head. I mean, you can't be walking down a street, see a young lady somewhere, and say to her, "Excuse me, I think you're ugly. You know, I thought I spoke. A man of high integrity." Well, you'll also probably be a man with a bloody nose at that point. The reality is, say as you think doesn't give you the permission to just blurt out anything that comes to your head. Clearly, that instance where you saw this lady on the street, it wasn't the right forum. She did not ask you for your opinion. It was not constructive. It wasn't compassionate. So say as you think doesn't give you the right to just blurt out anything that comes to your head, but rather in the right forum, compassionately, constructively, you've got to put forth on the table what you really think. That is a high bar of integrity. To illustrate that, let me share a story with you. This story is actually from my own experience, long time ago, early in my career. The division president of that company had a pet project. He decided to dig deep in the organization and catch hold of Mike and ask him to be the project leader. Mike was a young upstart, a can-do, get-it-done guy. Mike, the division president, came to Mike's cubicle to ask him. Mike was delighted. Mike was a go-getter. He was delighted that the big boss came to his office to ask him to be the project leader. Mike was going to do a great job of this. Mike put together a project team. Mike was a smart guy. He put together an advisory board of senior executives that reported directly to the president. Harry was on the advisory board. Harry was the IT director. Harry had done projects like that a couple of times before. Harry knew something about these kinds of projects. Mike's got the advisory board. Mike's got the project team. He's got a kickoff meeting, project kickoff meeting. The whole, the big boss is sitting right in the center. The advisory board flanked on either side. The project team members all along the wall. Mike's doing the presentation. Mike's excited. Mike's going to get it done. He's got a schedule. He's going to do these things in parallel. He's going to get it done by September. September is when the big boss wants it done. Everybody's happy. The whole team there, the entire room, holding hands, singing Kumbaya. Harry has been sitting through this meeting quietly, saying to himself in his head, "No way. No way. Mike, no way. Mike's not going to get this done by September." He's talking to himself in his head. Harry's saying, Mike doesn't realize these things, they can't be done in parallel. Because until you do this, you don't know how to do this. So you have to do them sequentially, and then it won't get done by September. But Harry, he doesn't want to create any conflict. He doesn't say anything. He's quiet. By the way, what do you think Harry is thinking? Do you think Harry feels he's being dishonest? No. I posit Harry thinks he's being totally honest. He didn't cheat. He didn't lie. He didn't steal. Anyway, the meeting ends. Harry goes off to his next meeting, the IT staff meeting. He tells the IT staff guys, "Hey guys, I just came from that project kickoff meeting of Mike's. I got to tell you, I don't know what Mike's thinking. He's trying to do these things in parallel. He can't do them in parallel. He has to do them sequentially. And then the project isn't going to get done by September. I'll tell you, the big boss is going to get all mad. I give it till January, February before the big boss figures out it's not happening as fast as he wanted. He's going to get mad. He's going to kill this project." This project was dead before it started. Those guys, they're going to come to you guys, and ask for IT help. They're going to ask for all this IT help for their project. Give them some lip service. But our priorities are up here. Well, clearly at that point, Harry probably fell off the chart on this integrity piece. Anyway, that afternoon, I bumped into Harry. I bumped into Harry in the corridor somewhere. And I said to Harry, say, Harry, did you go to that project kickoff meeting of Mike's? Harry goes, yeah, I did. I said, how was it? You know, Harry does one of those, Balaji, can I be honest with you? I told Harry, yeah, Harry, this time it's okay. You know, don't make a habit of it, but this time it's okay. So Harry starts telling me, Balaji, you know, I don't know what Mike's thinking. You know, I don't know what Mike's smoking. He's trying to do these things in parallel. He can't do them in parallel. He's got to do those things sequentially. Because until he knows how to do this, he doesn't know how to do the next one. So he's got to do these things sequentially. And then it won't get done by September. No way. And, you know, the reality is the big boss, he won't see any deference till January or February. And then he's going to figure out the project isn't moving fast enough. And he's going to get all mad. You know, I think he's going to just cancel the project. I give it till January or February. I told my guys, you know, our priorities are here. I'm dumbfounded. Harry's telling me all this. And I'm going, Harry, did you say anything to Mike at the meeting? Harry goes, Balaji, how can I speak? I mean, before I could even open my mouth, the whole team there, they were holding hands and singing Kumbaya. I could not interrupt that. No, I didn't say anything. I said, but Harry, the reason you're on that advisory board is because you've got this experience. That your experience matters. That's why you're on the advisory board. You've got to speak up. You've got to tell Mike what you think. Harry goes, you're right. I'll send Mike an email, he says. So Harry sends Mike an email. Dear Mike, I was impressed with your and your team's gung-ho, can-do attitude that I saw in this morning's project kickoff meeting. That September deadline is precisely what the business needs and our leader wants. That schedule is going to be challenging, but I'm here to help. Let me know if there is anything I can do. Harry. Think about it. You think Harry elevated himself up to the top bar? You know, he said what he thought. He told him, challenging, he said, challenging. But did he really say what he was thinking? You see, to operate in the third bar of integrity, you've got to be able to apply the videotape test. If you don't know what the videotape test is, that's another tool. You should look it up. If you apply the videotape test, if Harry had applied the videotape test, then Harry would have, at that moment, Harry would have had a very different conversation with me. Let me replay the conversation on the assumption that Harry was aware of the videotape test and he felt he was going to subject himself to the videotape test. The conversation would have gone something like this. Balaji, you know, at that meeting, the whole team was holding hands and singing Kumbaya. I could not interrupt them. But I need to tell Mike. That there's a different point of view here. See, I need to tell him you can't do these things in parallel. They have to be done sequentially. And then it won't get done by September. And the big boss, he won't figure it out until about January or February. And then he's going to get all mad and cancel the project. And even if Mike doesn't agree with that, we need to tell the big boss now that there are these two different opinions so that he is not surprised in January or February, but rather he knows now that there are two different opinions on this. You see, that conversation is more compassionate. It's more constructive. When people start operating with the third bar of integrity, with the videotape test in mind, they begin to speak more compassionately, more constructively. They begin to speak based on facts and interpretations. The third bar of integrity is not easy. Just think, in the last 24 hours, did you have a thought that pertained to somebody that you would rather not share with that person? Most of us do. But if you start asking yourself, am I willing to share it? How would I state that thought so that I am willing to share it? You begin to construct those thoughts in a more constructive manner. When you get an organization to move higher and higher in the 3 bars of integrity, they begin to act more constructively. But most importantly, you eliminate politics in the organization. Politics, by the very definition of it, is people who do not say what they think. Politics is the lack of the 3rd bar. When you have an organization that operates at higher and higher bars, not only are people honest, they begin to do as they say, or on the occasions when they don't, they take full ownership in the language of an actor, and they begin to speak what they think and do so in a constructive manner. Now, they won't do it all the time, and they will slip up. Each of us will. But when they do, they will say to themselves, would I have been okay for the subject of that conversation to have been present in that room, listening to that conversation? And that thought process, that reflection, will cause them to rethink how they position that statement, and over time begin to think in that more constructive way. 3 bars of integrity leads to a much more cohesive organization.